Welcome to Redzone In the Lab podcast. I am Deuce. Um, Today we're just gonna go get into and recap uh new Washington Commanders GM Adam Peters first NFL Combine uh press conference. This is his first as an actual GM. So we definitely going to get into that. We're going to look at a lot of his quotes, and what I believe is they had the he was 11:30 at the combine. I think after the combine he met with more reporters, so we have more also to discuss. Like Cam Curl, he got into the Cam Curl situation. He got into spending some money. He also went on Grant and Danny at 3 o'clock. And kind of reiterate the same things he said early in the combine and Adam Peters' press conference, which was supposed to be at 6, but it looked like they changed it to 5. So we definitely going to talk about some of that. So on the other side of this, let's recap Adam Peters.
Shout out Redzone In the Lab podcast.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's Benjamin St. Jude, DB for the Washington Commanders. I want to give a big shout out to Redzone In the Lab podcast.
Welcome back, Redzone In the Lab podcast. I am Deuce. We got DT in the building joining us, and DT will be working double duties because at 7, command time with Kayla, and Caleb is going live at 7. So definitely tune in to that. We got a whole lot of Commanders talk from all types of different angles. So definitely tap in. DT, what is good?
What's up, man? Hey, look, my favorite time of the year, Scouting Combine. With a new ownership and a new administration in D.C. Heard some people talk good today. I heard Bruce Wayne was in Gotham City today. I heard Bruce Wayne was here. Let's go ahead and get to it, bro.
Bruce Wayne was cooking, man. Look, man, we got competent ownership. We have competent coaches, competent GMs, competent front office. We just competent all over, bro. Like we haven't been here in a long time. Last year it was all about the sale of the team, and the year before that was the more drama with the team in the off season, and Ron Rivera misses and all that other stuff, man. It's been so much of that stuff over the years, man, and I just don't remember the last time it was just all about football. But that's where we are now. Is all about football, and I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it, man. We got bread. You know what I'm saying? We just 75 million we putting in the FedEx for renovations. You know what I'm saying? We got that bread up. We got new lounges and all this different types of stuff, man. So I'm definitely excited about that. But Adam Peters, man, like I kind of mentioned in the opening, he went live at 11:30 at the combine. A lot of nuggets from the combine, man. Like this time of year is crazy exciting, and I think this year is even more exciting because it's all about football for us, and us having a number 2 pick. It puts us in the mix. It puts us front and center on a lot of the discussions at the combine.
Yeah, most definitely. Around this time, past couple of years, we always been that team that has, even with Ron, with all the respect he gives for, being a solid man to coaching rooms and stuff, he still had to deal with the last regime still hovering over his head. So this is something different for us, man, as Commanders fans, because now everybody's seeing the eyes on the prize. Everybody knows that the Washington D.C. area is definitely one of the epic centers of great football in the past, and hopefully, these guys that we hired in now, they can bring back the glory days back to DC. And I think all eyes are definitely on us because number 2 pick, $90+ million. Um, the market, especially the market, being DC and in the NFC East and in the NFC overall. So these are some of the considerations that have been talked about the whole year of last year. Even we had EB, and now
Mhm.
you're starting to see that coming with all the media coverage we're getting right now.
Which I am loving. Hey, Miss Janet, what's up? C. Henry, I know C. Henry can't wait till and it's only Tuesday. I'm thinking it's Wednesday. The draft is on fire, man. All right, man. Let's get right into the interview. The press conference. And it was. I won't want to say it's unorganized, but like the reporters seemed like they were yelling and trying to get in who asked the question first. It wasn't like it wasn't it didn't seem like it had any order to it because you kind of hear people just kind of shouting out loud, and then they didn't have like microphones and stuff like that, so you really couldn't hear the question that was being asked, but the response kind of let us know. But one of the things is the quarterback position is the number one thing, right? And that's what everyone wants to know about. And he mentioned that originally he mentioned we got to find a new quarterback, right? We got to find a new quarterback, which I thought was very interesting. And he was saying how we're going to interview a lot of quarterbacks. And that process with the quarterbacks of the combine is today and tomorrow with team interviews. So we're going to be interviewing tonight. We're going to be interviewing tomorrow. And right now, the only the only known interview is tomorrow with Jaden Daniels. So no other interviews have been confirmed yet for us, except for the one tomorrow. But he said we're going to interview a lot of quarterbacks, and for us, all we thinking about is 3. So you think that a lot word being used is kind of like a throw off, or do you actually think they're going to interview maybe 6 or 7 quarterbacks?
I mean, you have to interview all the quarterbacks because it's due diligence.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are talented as well, so you want to have the process. You want to put these guys in a pool of the characteristics that you're looking for. We heard past couple of weeks between Dan Quinn and Adam Peters, and even Cliff Kingsbury when he had his preference, what type of quarterback they're looking for, and they have all repeated the same substance: ability to move outside the pocket, mentally strong, a learner, someone that's going to work hard, being able to decipher defenses. Those are some of the things that they have mentioned. So these quarterbacks right here, they're going to be looked at. I still think it's something to throw the other teams off. You're probably going to hear a couple rumors probably tonight, be like, "Oh, they love Bo Nix, really, really love Bo Nix." But it's just something to spice things up headed to the draft weekend.
What's up, Unc? Miss Janet, Dan said something similar. In short, we got to talk ball and have a little tolerance for the food and some outside. Unc don't like nobody getting mics in our spaces.
Boy.
And for our quarterbacks that we have now on the roster, which is Sam Howell, it was interesting. I couldn't hear the exact question, but he talked about Sam Howell. He talked about him and Sam, I guess, being in the building at the same time. Sam stopped by. They kind of chopped it up. They walked around the block, whatever it was that they did. He got to know Sam a little bit more, as a person, and his thought process, and different things, which I thought was interesting. I thought I think that's normal. I mean, that's what you normally do. Like, he's on your team, so of course you're going to have conversations with him. I mean, look, we saw the clips with him and Chris Paul when they was watching his brother at the Senior Bowl. I'm sure they had more extensive conversations, just about him and what he chooses, like to do, blah blah blah. And I'm thinking he's going to have that with all the players at some point. But and of course you had it with other players. Not only Sam since he's been there for the last couple of weeks, but uh, I just don't think it's nothing there to say that he's going to keep him. He's going to trade. He said he really likes Sam. They really like what Sam is. Saying all the proper things. He's not going to go out there like Raheem Morris to be like, we would have won more games. We had better quarterback play, which I thought was crazy for Raheem Morris to say. But he said it. But our guys didn't take that approach. So, like, what do you think when it comes to that point that he brought out during the conference? I mean, during the presser.
Yeah, so Adam knows that quarterback is going to be the number one question for this team, and for him to answer it the first time, when I first saw the quote, I was like, "Oh shoot!" He came out swinging, but then, of course, I knew somehow, someway he had to walk it back a little bit. Overall, I still think they like Sam, and I'm pretty sure during his time with the 49ers that they had a formal interview with Sam Howell during the 2022 NFL draft, but not really as close as they wanted to. So that's probably the first time in a while that he met with Sam, talked to him about some of the things that happened last year. But the trade value thing has been a conversation past couple of days. They're not trading Sam. I think with what he provides financially and on tape, I know there are going to be some teams that's probably hungry to try to get a guy that's probably a fringe starter that could potentially be a starter down the line with a little bit more development for maybe teams that have veteran quarterbacks. But I think Sam is a good asset for this team because he's young. He's already went through the fire a little bit. He's going to definitely get some refinement, I believe, with a new offense and an offense that he's familiar with. And, the game plan be entirely different. And I think they like Sam, man. Sam fits some of the things that you like in the quarterback, and he fits that locker room. I don't think they want to tear that entirely apart.
And I'm not too concerned. They grown with him and May dynamic. May pointed out that they talk at least 3 times a week, so I'm sure they had these conversations numerous of times about both of them being in the building at the same time. So I don't think that's going to be an issue at all if they do decide to go Drake May. What's up, Chuck? I guess Dan Quinn said we not just bring everyone in here. What's good, Jeff? Yeah, so let's get into that part, the free agency part. He didn't really talk too much about the free agency angle during the initial conference, but I guess they kind of had like something like right after where our local beat reporters was kind of posting things. So I guess they had something like directly after the initial combine. But he talked about free agency, and he was talking about how, we're just not gonna go out there and just spend money on big free agents. We're not just going to spend all our money on big free agents because we want to make sure this is built for the long haul.
Yeah,
which I thought was an honest answer. I don't think that's honest. And to me, even on Grant Danny, he even kind of doubled down on that. It seems like maybe some homegrown talent he may want to keep, and he may make a splash or two, but he's going to be real methodical with the money, even though we have so much of it. But he's going to be frugal. He's going to make good decisions.
Yeah.
He's not just going to go splurge and just buy just because he has it.
Yeah, my dream was to spend all that money this offseason. But I think obviously they're going to have bigger plans for this offseason anyway. So you don't have to spend every single dollar just because we have this large amount of money. Obviously, from reading the comments and what he responded to, it sounds like he's staying with what he's saying. They're going to build through the draft, and they're going to add some pieces through free agency. So I'm expecting some vets to come in and help out sure some of the lesser known spots that we don't know about. Mainly, could be a linebacker. some depth at corner line, O line, especially, and you just keep building through the draft. You develop your guys that you have in the room, and you have a plan for them. So, I know a lot of people were like, "Yo, we can try to get all these free agents," but if we know the last couple of years, and I'm not saying this is the same regime in terms of how they spend money, because we used to fuss every year like, "Yo, you need to get this guy," because LeBron, you don't have that guy at that spot. And to that point, I think they're going to get the guys that we actually need.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. We're just not going to go out there and go get, like, let's just say we know T. Higgins was tagged, or even some of the running backs, Josh Jacobs, for instance, or Henry, any one of those, just cause, right? Like, we understand that we're not a player or two away to go make that big splash and somebody that could take us over the hump. That's just not where we are. And I also don't think we just gonna, like, we can't keep the money, so we're gonna have to spend it. And I know we're not gonna be bottom bin either, so I think we're gonna get those mid to high tier players and maybe one big splash, which could be an edge, but it's a little disappointing because it seems like most of the edges are going to be tagged. It did come out that Brian Burns could possibly be tagged. Carolina is looking to tag him. I think Dan Morgan had mentioned that if they can't get a deal done, they definitely going to tag him. And we're just kind of speculating that Josh Allen is going to get tagged. And then you have Huff out there. His numbers looking at 76 million, but he's not so much of a run stopper, so he's not an every down guy. But at the same time, we know Dan Quinn likes having rotation with his defensive lineman and his pass rusher. So do you really want to pay that big of a number to somebody that's not an every down end? So that's just some of the things to kind of consider. But to Henry's part, Henry's point, is Sam Howell better than the third tier of quarterbacks in this draft? And it depends who your third tier is. So Henry kind of asked the question. So Henry put in like a couple third tier quarterbacks.
Because if he's better than the third tier and you tell me what the names are, then absolutely I would take a Sam Howell over those guys because he has the experience. But let's see what the names are real quick.
Yeah, Henry, put your third tier, because I'm thinking, if you got a team out there that wants to groom a quarterback, let's say like the Rams, 49ers, some of those teams, Rams, 49ers, Seahawks, like some of those teams that have vets that can hold on for a couple years or a year or whatever. If you think Sam is better than those third tier quarterbacks, are you willing to give up a third round pick for Sam? I would be surprised if somebody want to give us a third round pick for Sam Howell, but I'm kind of on the fence though.
That someone give us a third round pick for Sam Howell. I love Sam. I'm taking that in a heartbeat, bro.
Yeah, man.
I'm taking that out.
It depends, man. Like, they talking about the Jets, and the Jets have a high third. So that's gonna be hard to pass up. Marcus, what's up, Marcus? What's up? Although I'm okay with draft the quarterback or trade back for more picks. And to Marcus' point, he mentioned in the presser that is more beneficial to the team to trade back and pick up more assets.
Yeah.
He mentioned that, and I think with Grant and Danny. So that's also something to kind of consider. And I think, like, what's up, Cito? Like, we don't know. Like, we don't know what's going on, which is great. And we talked about this earlier, and what it do with Glenn Space this morning. Poles, Peters, like all of these GMs that's kind of in the mix. Terry, Raheem, like all of those, Morgan, or like all of these, the Titans GM who said, look, we can keep it, we can trade down, we can do whatever we want. It's like they all have us guessing. Like these are some, these GMs are really working, man, and they really keeping us on our heels with the decisions they're gonna make. We just don't know what they're going to do. So which I think is a good thing, especially with us and Adam Peters.
That's Pops.
Rick's. Oh, that's Pops.
Yeah, that's Pops, man.
What's up, Pops? Pops say, keep Sam, but I don't see Washington with North Carolina quarterbacks in the room together. Hold on, Pops. You wanna just roll with Sam? I found out Pops is left tackle.
Nah, I know who you want.
He gonna have to come on and tell us.
It's
What's
been
up, Rob?
ugly
They
past couple
said don't
days.
expect big spending. Yeah,
Hey,
he said that. I think I don't think we're gonna go out there and get the three highest paid players just because we got the money. I think we might get one, but you never know. This could be a throw off too. He could be saying that, and then come draft time, he might change he might change his mind. Just wrote through these comments. Him talking about his talk with Sam was revealing. Yeah, we talked about that. I mean, what you think about that, CeeLo? Because we was talking. He started off the presser. The first question is like, we got to find a new quarterback. And then later in, when he had another opportunity to talk about Sam, he went into, Sam came in the office. We had a conversation. We talked. We went outside. We held hands, walked around the block, and told each other our wants and needs for our life. You know what I'm saying? So, what do you think about like those two comments? DT said it was more of a walk back from the earlier one, but he definitely had to cover that earlier one up.
Yeah, my initial thoughts about that was they definitely going quarterback, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, man, they definitely going quarterback. But I also can see where like they really like Sam.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of one of them things like,
Mm-hmm.
man, different circumstances. This kid might be kind of like that. So got to know him a little bit, and everyone loves Sam, off, non-football stuff. So like, I just think he was being genuine about that. I just feel like, I think they went into the conversation like, I think we need a quarterback. What it also, to me, it meant is like, they don't really love any of the quarterbacks outside of maybe a Caleb, which you're not going to get. So it feels like maybe that comment was about Sam, JD, and Drake are like right there. It's not like it's a big step up in their opinion. So I kind of probably overthought it a little bit, but it might have been one of them like, man, listen, Sam's in the equation.
I was trying to see these third tier quarterbacks because the Sam Howell trade and it's really with the Jets. I didn't really see any from anywhere else.
What role would Sam play with the Jets? Just as a backup?
Yeah, to Rodgers.
He'll be a.
He could do that here.
I mean, if we draft a quarterback, it ain't looking for him. With the Jets, is looking for him to start. It's a plan in the quarterback room to win. Aaron,
retires.
Yeah, retires or something happens. Yeah, let's let me see. Washington needs to make one big splash. Are we saying we are signing current? Now, we definitely not. So the curl thing was a little
I think he's gone, bro.
But it's funny because after the initial press conference at the combine, he talked with Nikki and them, right? So it came out that we've been talking, we're talking with his representatives, we want blah blah blah. We're exploring options to see where we want. The exploring options part was like, I don't know, like they might let him test the market. But then on Grant and Danny, it was more so of like when I was watching him, he's the best player here. He's been the best defensive player. He's this, he's that. It was all of these glowing remarks or these glowing remarks about him, and I was like, hold on, this is a little different than what he said, earlier. Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Did y'all notice his Trey Lance comments? And I'm saying that to talk about Cam Curl. like he talked about the Trey Lance experience, and he was like, I learned a lot. A lot went into that. Definitely will use that, obviously, going forward. I don't think. I think. I just think Adams like a nice dude right now, at least, and he's just like all these guys are great. They ballers. But do you think that's what he's gonna say? I mean, I'm pretty sure he's probably like, yo, listen, if he really was telling us, like, yo, the Trey was horrible.
Yeah, most
They
definitely.
come to work on, you know what I'm saying? So I think he's just being like a nice guy. And Cam, but Cam is legit. I'm not saying Cam is legit, but like, he's like, he probably is like, I like Cam, but I like him like this much. I don't like him like that much, where he probably wants to get paid. And so they had an impasse. If you really want to, like,
there's probably nobody on that on a roster like that. I mean, I just don't know. Like, he's never been in the forefront before, so I just don't know. Like, is he genuine? Is he just keeping the hand close to the vest? Like, what is it like? What's gonna be his style?
You don't spend 3 first-round draft picks on a guy and move him 2 years later. Like, that's a catastrophe. Thankfully for them, they survived it, but
they still winning. Yeah, and they got a contract.
There's way more to that story. So
I don't believe them when they
say, I learned something. Nah, bro, you learned a lot from that whole situation. This dude, that dude ain't that good.
And to that point, also too, like, if I'm not mistaken, this is like his third time like speaking in front of mics. Like, we still trying to learn about Bruce Wayne, man. We're trying to figure out if he the new Batman or the old Batman, bro.
Hey, is he Christian Bale? Is he
we're trying to figure that out.
Ben Affleck? I'm sure which Batman is he?
we trying to figure that out. But I thought it was interesting. Somebody had asked him a question about it must have been roster build at the combine presser, and he immediately said, "That's a good question." I don't know if he said such and such didn't prepare me for that question, which I thought was interesting, right? So he's telling me that like the PR person or whoever is prepping him for some questions that he may get. So that confirms that these guys are prepped prior to answering questions, and they all is on the same page with answering these questions, which I thought was very interesting. When he said that, I was like, huh, did he just say that? But yes, he did just say that. So, but I mean, I've always thought they was kind of prepped. But I guess they just prep with just questions that people may ask. This is how you're going to answer that. You're going to answer that question, which I thought was especially when you come to like the curl thing. Curl Cosme about the only long-term fit, so y'all going to use 90 mil on 1,000 paper curl. He talking about Cosme. Cosme not even up for a deal. See,
keep in mind that the free agency money we don't spend rolls over. So,
but only a percentage of
only a certain amount.
Yeah, there's a floor that you have to get to. So you can't just keep rolling over money every year. So like 300 million.
We may have bigger plans next year, depending on the timing of things. So
and that's what he said when he was talking about the spending, and not spending big on all these free agents, is that the long term goals, this is a long term. We want to build continuous success and not just one-offs. Yeah, man, the attitude is going to be bad.
Good question.
It's going to be bad, Chuck.
Yeah.
It's going to be bad. If it comes out we trade down to number 7 or number 8, it's probably going to be running it back with Sam. That's probably going to be it. Maybe pick a quarterback in a second or something like that, but it's going to be bad. What's up, Radar? Simple says Sam is ready.
Sam ready.
Yeah, man. I think Radar. Talking about y'all think Cam Curl. You don't want Cam Curl back. Stop faking, Radar. Talked about it yesterday. I'm looking at, for me, 3 year, 40 million, but we'll see. the Browns, Jets, Steelers, Pats. I think these are the teams that's been rumored that like Sam Howell. Got y'all re-signing Fuller and Curl, signing Trent Brown, Oniwe. I don't know who we want.
So none of those teams are going to really, except for the Pats, they may start them.
It's a compliment to Robinson. Well, we definitely gonna get into that. And that's interesting. What we're gonna do with Fuller and Samuel. I mean, I wouldn't mind bringing them back, but I wonder how Fuller fits in the defense that they want to run. I mean, he's an older guy. He's still younger. He's still young. He's not like he's old. He's not as fast and twitchy as he used to be, but he's great if he can keep everything in front of him. He's a great cornerback. He put up good numbers. But it's the man-to-man that he has issues with. So it just depends how they want to roll.
I think we start to see some guys from that Cowboys depth chart.
Yeah, I think Javon Curse is a big play. That's why the Cam Curl thing is interesting to me. With Curse being cheaper and being able to do some of the same things that he's able to do. He said, I got to run out of space for that type talk. What's up, Mark? This might be your first time commenting. Appreciate you joining us on X. Anyone that's on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, like, share. If they do want to keep saying, he still has to make it sound like we are going to. Yep. This is all it's about. Like, you have to play the game all the way till the end, as close as you can. You want to keep your hand close to your vest. If you want to deal Sam, or if you want to keep him, you want to build the value of your assets. And with Justin Fields, every day we go by, he gets more expensive. He gets more expensive. That number 1 pick gets more expensive. Number 2 pick gets more expensive. Lance is an indictment on the front office. Y'all better hope Batman wasn't the only one at the table pounding for Lance. Pause. Yeah, it did come out. It's been confirmed by multiple sources that, like, the rounds, day 1, day 2 is mostly Lynch and Cal. And it was mostly Cal for this with Lance. Cal spearheaded. He was the one that wanted to pull this trigger. But he did mention something about Lance Newmark. I think that's his name, Newark. And he was mentioning how he said they've never worked together, but they're close friends. And he's been very impactful on his career as a personnel guy. He helped him, come to a lot of decisions over the years. So I think Lance is going to be one of those. Like, he's the assistant GM, but I also think, like we've heard about Adam Peters and how he deals with, the people he oversees. Like, all of them have a voice, and he listens to them and different things like that. So having him over was probably one of the, if outside of Mayhew, which he ain't going nowhere. I think these two guys that he has, but I think they're going to be here, and they're going to be his sounding board for sure.
He's at the combine.
Yeah, he's there. Right, see, there's a radar talking about some 8.
I can do 8.
But Stephon Gilmore played corner, so yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they keep Fuller. But I think Stephon Gilmore is a better man corner too.
Yeah. Gilmore was the young Gilmore was a dog.
Yeah. So some other things that he mentioned, talking about, like, personality versus talent. He said over years you make big mistakes not incorporating the human element of a player, which I thought was interesting. And then I also cringed a little bit because I ain't go this character stuff again. You know what I'm saying? So we just got to be careful with those character things. But he was saying, like, the human element of a pick, you have to look at that versus the talent. So I guess it's like the fit. Like, is this person going to fit what it is you're trying to do? and it could work both ways. You know, is he too nice? And like you talked about yesterday with Forbes and attacking violently, you know, is his character not strong enough or not aggressive enough for this defense? And I think that matters when we're looking at it from the other side. Because all we thinking about is good guys, but you know, he might not want no good guys. He might want more bad guys. You know, so it just kind of depends how you look at it. Let me see. The more hits. This was interesting. The more hits you have kind of determines the successful or, you know, the success of draft. How do you feel about that, DT? Because he was saying, you know, it's not about hitting one round versus another, but the more hits you have, the more success you have. So if you hit on, and this has been his thing, right? Hitting on late round picks. So if you hit on, let's say, picks 5 through 7 is heavy contributors year one, you know, and they playing at a high level, but you miss on rounds 1, 2, 3. Is that a good draft?
You know, I think it depends on, you know, how much impact you're really getting from those late round guys. I mean, like, good examples like a Jason Kelsey. You know, he was drafted on day 3 and did not expect him to have the type of career that you would see from that level of play. All Pro center, Super Bowl champion, and multiple Pro Bowls. You know, that was kind of the vision we had with the last regime, and you know, look at the 2020 class. And again, I keep bringing it up. That had potentially to have a lot of key contributors, but after that year, they never progressed. Only one player has been fairly consistent, and we either re-sign him or he might let him walk. So you got to hit on your picks. And the comment about, you know, the first rounds, I would want my first couple picks to hit because we had a bad history of first round, second round, and a couple third round picks here. I
don't know, man. Look, winning covers, losing uncovers.
It do cover all.
If you winning, like, ain't nobody worried about those picks too much. If you winning, you know what I'm saying. But you definitely have to take that into consideration.
That's true.
Henry said that ain't a good draft. But what we decide, CeeLo, one time, what, 3? If you get 2 starters and another heavy contributor from each draft, that's considered a good draft. You know, I mean, that's like the hit rate is 2-3 players out of 7 rounds. That's usually the hit rate over the last probably 20 years for every team. I mean, you have some outliers every now and then, but that's pretty much the average. I mean, every GM has horrible percentages in the draft. I mean, even you give me the best GM over the last 20 years, and I guarantee he has a negative hit rate. I mean, not a negative hit rate, but a below average, a below 50% hit rate in the draft. You know, the draft is like field goal percentage in the NBA. You know, 40 shooting 40% from 3-point is great. Like, that's elite. 42%. That's how the draft is. That's how you look at the draft. And we got to take that into consideration, man. Sometimes you just can't, you know, expect the guy to hit, you know, go 7 for 7. Luckily you get 2. You just got to move.
I also think that some people, they love to quote how so many draft picks actually played and made the team.
Yeah.
They don't realize that's not necessarily a good thing, right? Like, you know, if you have all 7 rounds of your players actually playing a lot of minutes in year one, that probably means you don't really have a good roster to begin with. You don't really have a talent roster to begin. So you want to have, like, to your point, a couple guys definitely start, and then a couple guys depth or contributors grow, whatever. But you shouldn't have to. You don't want all 7 guys to hit. You kind of want them guys to kind of fill in the white space and let your veterans who are already on the team continue to grow and stuff like that. So, there's actually he's right. You know what I'm saying? I think you don't it's all about who you pick and stuff like that versus where you pick.
Yeah. Chuck said we have to remember Batman always has a contingency plan, and his enemies normally don't know until the end. What's up, Torch? How do you guys feel about Peters saying we won't be big sprinters? Yeah, we kind of talked about that a little earlier. I think he's going to spin. I mean, we have to get to a floor. We might get one big splash, and I think everything else would be, maybe I can guarantee ain't gonna be no bottom bin guys. Like ain't gonna be no Ron Rivera type signings. So I just don't think we're gonna go out there and get 3 players and the all out cap is gone. I think that's kind of what he means.
We should probably go look at. I know he wasn't the guy in San Francisco. It was Lynch, but we should go look at what San Francisco done over the last couple of years. They're not big spent. Like they don't go out and
they don't
go crazy free agency. They draft well. They re-sign their guys that they prioritize. Like they about to, they figuring out Ayuk right now and got a couple other guys. So they didn't really spend big, even when they weren't good. They went out and traded for Jimmy Garoppolo. Did some stuff like that. CMC, obviously, our guy, CY99, but it's hit or miss. It's not like that's not their philosophy. So I kind of believe them.
Yeah, and they are like a win. They were in win now mode too. You got to kind of take that into consideration on how they had a lot of good players too. So it's not like they had a lot of their players, other teams trying to get those type of players in free agency, and they drafted those players.
I'm surprised they went and got Jimmy Garoppolo. I ain't gonna lie. I think they traded a second for him. That was kind of a surprise at the time. And they had a high
remember
draft.
He was balling out, and he was because remember he wanted Kirk. That was the initial plan.
That's what we thought, right? And then, but Jimmy G only played a couple games. You backing up the GOAT. The GOAT never missed any games except he got suspended.
But he looked pretty when he did it, though.
But he looked good, and they went for him for a second round pick. Is Justin Fields in the equation? I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
It's possible. You never know, man. This is a good point, Henry. Maybe we can put this on the script for Thursday, DT. I think you do. Yeah, I think it's only fair to evaluate drafts after 3 years for sure. But no, that's something we can look at. Ozzie, Brad, he's one of the better GMs. Like, let's look at his drafts the last few years and see how many he actually hit on. Like last year, you could look at those 4 or 5 guys, 4 guys off the break the first few rounds, which could be an anomaly. Like, how often has that happened? So those are some things to look at when you talk about the draft, because it's crazy, man.
Agree.
So, man, it's about having some ballers, right? It's about having building the team, having some people that can go out there and ball. Because at the end of the day, you want players to produce. So, if you have a 7th rounder producing like a 1st rounder, and a 1st rounder looking like a 7th rounder, as long as you win it, hey man, like we just got to move. You know what I'm saying? Got one, and that's how we've been looking at. We talk about like Cam Curl and Defoe and all those guys, but you want to hit early because those should be the easiest picks. But again, it's so much information on those top prospects that sometimes, it might be overload, and you may be thinking too much on those guys, and you probably feel forced to take them because they are like top 100 or whatever. And that's the thing about this combine and other things, man, is the all pro guys, the Hall of Fame guys, all of those are late in the draft. They not day 1, day 2 type things. So that's something to consider, man. Might be a lot of pressure on these first 3 rounds. He also mentioned, which I thought was interesting, Peters is going to be leading all these interviews. So I think this is what you wanted, CeeLo. Like you wanted the GM to be a GM. The coaches are like he met with like the scouts came in last week, so all the scouts were, and I thought it was very interesting on the Commanders log that scout got so much airtime. Like he tells us, look, we trying to impress the new boss, but we also got to do our jobs, blah blah blah. Bro, you on the first episode, you gonna be here. Like you ain't gotta worry about that. You definitely gonna be here. But it was interesting that they gave him that much airtime, which I think is the person who Peters is. Like when we talked to Marco about it, he talked about how he looks at his scouts, how valuable they are to him. But all of them was in Ashburn last week. They all brought all of their profile tales. I think that's what he called them. I don't know what a profile tale is, but they brought all of those, and they showed them all of their guys, the scouts from the different regions, who they like, who this, who that, gave them a whole profile. He talked with all the coaches to give them a video or something about what they want out, what type of players that they want. So I think that's interesting. I think that's the kind of dynamic we wanted. And I know CeeLo used a sole proponent of that is let the GM do his GM things. Like, coach, tell me what you want, and I'm going to go out and get it for you. I don't need you going out there and doing it because you're going to overspend on something because you don't understand the like how this works. But that's the GM job is to find those players and get you the players you want, not for the coach to do it.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, I definitely can't wait. So that was I like the you could tell they're working together. But Dan Quinn, like I say, man, like these guys are being prepped. The Dan Quinn, the Sam Howell takes, all that stuff seems exactly alike. When you see their quotes, Sam Howell is toughness. They asked Dan Quinn what he see in a quarterback, type of traits: mental toughness, accuracy on the deep ball, the ability to create off schedule, get out of bad plays. And also saw somewhere when he was saying for a young quarterback, you need to be able to run the ball and have play action.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably a semi shot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of like the same thing. He said he talked with Sam too, and he liked his competitiveness. Yeah, you like his competitiveness. I mean, is that it? So I think they definitely going quarterback at 2, man. I think they definitely going quarterback at 2. So I think that was interesting, them talking about Sam Howell. But as you can see so far, man, it seems like they're all on the same page. When you hear Quinn talk, you hear Peters talk. Seems like they all on the same page of what they want and how they want to move during this process. So, I mean, DT, you like, the dynamics so far, especially with all of these coaches, front office people coming from all different types of areas. I mean, all different types of parts of the NFL and college.
I love the dynamic so far. We talked about a lot how diverse this staff is with the experience, the youth that you want. You have these key guys in these certain places, like a Ken Norton, Brian Johnson, passing coordinator, Anthony Lynn, somebody that's very respected, who had interviewed last year when with Ron Vera here. I think this is a great staff of chemistry, and eventually, hopefully, you want to see this translate on the field. But I think all of them have that one goal in mind and what they want to do to help this team get to the level that they expect them to be.
How you like it, CeeLo?
No, I like it. I like it a lot. The diversity in that room is incredible. So I'm just anxious to see, what rises to the top. What kind of offensive philosophy they're going to have, and that's going to dictate how they draft and how they acquire players. And so, do you want a guy that's as dynamic as a Kyler Murray? Do you need to have that? A guy like maybe Jay Daniels or something like that, or can you stick with a guy like a Sam or a Drake who's mobile, but they still can run a professional offense. And so I'm curious, and then how you going? What are you going to do to the skill position players? Do you value a guy like Cam? I mean, like Curtis Samuel, or do you want to go in the draft, or you value that position less, in your like in your opinion? So I'm really curious about like how those guys communicate and how they kind of I ain't gonna say fight, but how they kind of get their point across. Like,
Yeah,
hey
war
man,
room. Yeah.
I need this kind of guy or that kind of guy. This kind of offensive lineman, smaller, agile in that zone blocking scheme. Where I want big dudes, So I'm curious to see how that. Like, I would love to be in the room hearing them talk about how that's going to shake out.
Yeah. So sounds like after watching Dan Quinn's interview, which I haven't watched that yet, because I thought it was supposed to be 6, but they may have moved it. No, they're in Indy, so they're an hour behind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And on comment, it seems like they talk about mobile quarterbacks, and I would love to see Jaden Daniels in a Washington Commander uniform. Analyst paralysis. I wonder though how many people fans will turn on the team yet again if Peters and company don't get a guy. Of course, you know how it is, Yam. You know how it is, man. you know the fan base. But here's the quote from Grant and Danny about the free agency spree. It's not going to be a big spending spree. We're not going to go out and blow all that money in year one. Now, just remember, there's a floor. Like, you just can't keep taking money year to year. There's a floor, so you have to spend money. And this is what happens with the Jaguars a couple years ago when they paid those free agents like Christian Kirk and gave them crazy money because you have to spend that money. Go out and blow all that money in year one. We're going to build a competitive team with the right types of guys, then have a great draft after that. Like, it seems like he's really dialed in on the draft. I don't know, man. That first tier free agency during that tampering period, we might only be linked to one name, maybe none. So that's gonna be another test for the fan base, Yam. We ain't out there trying to get some of these bigger name people, but that's definitely gonna be something to kind of look at. Eugene Shin, he's also there, the analytics guy. And Peter was saying, they have a good dialogue. Because remember, Josh hired him first. Like, he's been there. Like, Josh hired him first. They said he had a lot of say in the Chase Young and Montez Sweat trade. So he's been in the building. But he works for, let's not confuse it. He works for Adam. Like, he's under Adam on the football side. But I think he's over all the analytics on both sides, football and business. But when it comes to the football side, Adam is in charge, and then Jason is in charge on the business side. It said he can work with coaching, personnel, free agent pricing, which I thought was interesting because we have Rodgers, right? So I wonder what type of role Rodgers has. I wonder if they kind of moved him back a little bit and put Shen out in front when it comes to the contracts and everything. But I guess maybe we'll hear more of that. And those are the little tidbits that Cam usually drops in his podcast. If you want to know more about those type of dynamics, definitely listen to the John Cam podcast. He's been really enthusiastic. I'm excited to work with him. Him being there, I think, is a big plus because the combine is nothing but numbers. So you want analytics guy. What do y'all think the role of Shen gonna be?
I don't know. I think he's going to be, what he's hired to be as far as analytics and articulating what kind of guys, based on the coaches and input, what kind of guys they should look for, and analytically giving them an opportunity to say, hey, listen, based on what you're looking for, these are the guys that I feel fit the best. I think that's the role he's going to play right now, right, in terms of finding the best players. That's a different role than being in season, talking about game time situations. So you got the player evaluation side where you're just looking at pure, height, weight, speed, system, looking at their performance back in college, putting that into a machine, spitting out a number, versus situational football. So I think he's going to be a big part of that first piece. This offseason. One thing I'll say about the salary cap, you're talking about spending. Teams have to spend 89%
It's
of
89%.
the salary cap over a 4-year period. So it calculates every 4 years, and so they're going to continue to calculate that. So in theory, you can not spend anything for a year in theory, and then you can spend it all in year 2. So there could be a strategy if you smart, look at the free agency and say like, yeah, I want to go after these guys in 2026. So I'm gonna hold off in 2024, 2025. So 89% is the goal, or is the guideline, or the rule to spend.
So what's 89% of 250 million, 252 million? You can do that in your head, CeeLo?
Like 235 million, something like that. Yeah.
So whatever that 89% number is,
it's still a lot of money though.
It's like the floor. Like we don't have to get to that number. So it's just some I don't know if it's breaking news, but Josh Harris and Bob Myers just landed in Indianapolis.
Oh, let me hit the otter pose.
They just landed in Indianapolis, so right in time for these interviews, these quarterback.
You said Bob Myers.
Yep, Bob Myers.
But he a basketball guy.
He said,
gang. Yeah, we was talking about that earlier, and DT had made a point about there's only like his 3rd time being in front of media. So you can tell he's still, trying to, feel his way around. You know what I'm saying? He got those jitters or whatever, but he doing a good job. Like when he first sat down, he was like, "All right, y'all gonna ask me some questions? I mean, what we doing here?"
Man, Bruce Wayne had his rough path. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. We talking about. We talking about Christian Bale, Chris Wayne.
We gotta figure that out.
We gotta figure that out. It's been like
I know, yeah. It's gonna be it's gonna take time, man. It's gonna take time. But the fan base, man. Jaden, O-line, 2-3 new bodies to the O-line coming. See, Henry showing up know a lot about our team. Yeah, look at him.
Man, see, he undercover.
You need to be focusing on the lines, man.
Come on out.
You be focusing on the lines, man.
It's okay.
He told something we scared. Ain't nobody scared to spend no money, man.
Last time I checked, lions don't hibernate. Get your weight up.
Lions don't hibernate. Yeah, man. So we just wanted to kind of recap the presser. I don't, Dan Quinn presser was also, we don't need to recap. Yeah, he had a couple little nuggets in there, but nothing major. But he is there. I know Stanek had said that he wasn't. Nikki said he was. So we see who won that one. He is there, which is good. Like I just said, Josh Harris and Bob Myers just landed, which I think is very interesting. Trail says that a trade is about to get done because the owner has just landed. So
I ain't gonna say a trade gonna get done, but there's gonna be some conversations.
Yeah, it's about to get really interesting. But that's right. The janitor been working. Dan was the janitor the whole time. But we definitely gonna be here, man. Like I think it's full throttle, full go. From here all the way to at least after the draft. So we're definitely going to be here. We're going to put out a schedule with all of our media, the days that we're going to be here, and the teams and the topics. So definitely be on the lookout for that. I only want Jaden if it's in the trade back deal. Personally, not sorry, but not to be picking at 2 is too rich. If we do get him, I'll begrudgingly support. I just want to be happy. I think we all want to be happy. But I think for the most part, most of the fan base, man, like no one, if we're not able to get Caleb, we get JD. Some people might be mad a little bit at first, but then they say, whatever they want to do, the same with May. So it's going to be interesting, the real reactions. But the initial reactions, I'm not even going to respond to them. I'm just going to let the people have a couple of days to get over it before you start responding, because people want who they want. So, but Yeah, man, we about to get out of here. Tally, that's a blurred background, Tally.
Man, eat the vitamins, man.
Hey, Telly is someone that doesn't work from home.
Nope, he doesn't work. Don't join Zooms. He ain't know you with none of that.
He's like, what are we doing in here?
You want to see where I'm at, man? Look matter of fact. You know where I'm at, man? I'm at my grandma's house, man. Look at this. I'm back here, got the nieces and great nieces and stuff, got the Play-Doh. Play-Doh falling off the thing.
Telly don't like them blurred screens, man.
Yeah, Telly's like, I need to see you and only you.
And really excited, man. Telly is on here. Telly about to do something big, man. He about to take the solo route with this boxing channel, man. We're really excited. So that's gonna be hitting the ground running pretty soon. We also have Redzone Road Work with Lady E and Breeze and them. And Telly about to do some big things, man. So I've been trying to get him to do it for like the last 9 months. So I think I finally kind of pressed him to do it a little bit. So I'm definitely excited.
I thought you were talking about him boxing Bears Twitter.
Nah, we can have a whole show about this. That should be a 30 for 30, Telly and the Bears. Like that should be a 30 for 30, yeah. Like that should be a 30 for 30, yeah. All right, man. We about to get out of here, man. Definitely appreciate CeeLo DT showing up on the podcast. At 7:00. Check all your social media. Command Time is going live with Kayla. DT Command Time with Kayla and
7:40. We'll had to move it tab bit.
7:40. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And we're gonna be here tomorrow, man. Probably around the same time. So maybe we'll have something, some trades or something to talk about. So definitely excited about that. But the interview, so as of right now, the only confirmed interview for the Commanders is Jaden Daniels tomorrow. No other interview has been confirmed yet. So we definitely appreciate you guys for joining in the comments. We appreciate it all. Please like, subscribe, get that algorithm working. Come on, DT, huh? Pause, yeah.
Bro,
yeah.
Bro, oh my God.
Oh, man. What you doing, man?
I cramp my stomach, bro.
We definitely appreciate y'all, baby. Thank you for your time.
Please.
We know your time is very valuable. For you to spend it with us, we definitely appreciate it. Remember, do it because you love it, not because it loves you. One beat, one sound, one heart.